Welcome back. You've made it here to this next question type, which is sentence completion. So you might remember that this is what the sentence completion question looks like. This question is mostly in order. I would say that probably between 80 to 90% of the times, this type of question is going to be in order. Okay, so whenever you're answering these questions, I want you to automatically assume that these questions are in order. So just go ahead and assume that. Even though they're not always in order, I want you to assume that the question set that you're answering does go in order, because that's going to make your job much easier. But there are exceptions. About 10 to 20% of the times, these questions do not go in order. These questions have a medium level of difficulty, as you can see here from this yellow dot. So this is what the question looks like. Basically, what you have to do is you have to complete this sentence by matching it to the correct answer choice. This question is actually very much like a matching question. You're going to learn more about the matching question after the next couple videos, so we're going to get to that very soon. But this is kind of like a matching question where you are matching the question with the correct answer choice. If there are more answer choices than the question, then that means that some of these answer choices are not going to be used. The way to identify this question is by looking up here. It tells you to complete each sentence, and you have to do so by matching it with the correct answer choice. Here's a bit of explanation about this question. So you already know that this question goes mostly in order. 80 to 90% of the times, this question will go in order. Therefore, you should assume that it goes in order. It's not a difficult question, okay? Like I mentioned, this question has a medium level of difficulty, so it's not too difficult to solve. You shouldn't really have much problem with it. As long as you can scan for the keywords and understand synonym language, you should be alright. Next point here is that this question is formed from only 1 to 2 sentences in the reading passage. You've already seen this by now. Almost all the questions that we're going to go over, that we have gone over so far, these questions, the answers to these questions are coming from only 1 or 2 sentences in the reading passage. So you never have to read multiple sentences, you never have to read the entire paragraph. So what you have to do in this question, as you already know by now, is you have to match the first part of the sentence with the second part of the sentence. So you're already going to be given the first part in the question, and you're going to be given the second part of the sentence in the answer choices, and you have to match them correctly. Next, the keywords may be found in the questions or in the answer choices. Now, this is a question type in which you are going to get answer choices. So there may be times when you might find keywords in the answer choices as well. But I say that as a maybe, okay? This is not always going to help you, but this is something to be mindful of, something to have in the back of your mind, that the keywords from the answer choices could also help you. But I should point out to you at this point that you should first look for the keywords from the questions. Because if you start looking for the keywords from answer choices right away, you're going to be searching all over the place. And guys, this is going to confuse you and it's going to waste a lot of time. So don't look for the keywords from the answer choices right away. Rather, what you should do is you should first look for the keywords from the questions. Then, once you have located those keywords from the questions in the reading passage, only then you should look for the keywords from the answer choices around that area, around the area where you found the keywords for the questions. Does that make sense? I'll show you more examples of this as we move along. Next, keep in mind that some answer choices may not be used at all, whereas other times they might throw in answer choices in there that has nothing to do with the reading passage that is not even mentioned in the article, that does not even exist. Okay, so they're going to try to trick you in different ways. They might use synonym language from the reading passage to try to trick you, or they might throw in some answer choices that don't even exist. So you have to be careful about that. I'm going to show you more examples of this. We're going to do practice questions, and all of this will become much clearer to you very soon. The last thing you need to know is, just like with every question type, the ability to scan for keywords is paramount. If you cannot scan for keywords and if you cannot understand synonym language, I'm sorry folks, you're probably not going to do very well on the test. This skill is very important. It is crucial to getting a high score. Now, I didn't want to go over this strategy step by step with you because you've already seen this basic strategy. You've seen this many times by now, and you have already used this basic strategy to answer other types of questions like the multiple choice or fill in the blanks and so on. So you already understand the basic strategy by now. The first thing you're going to do is mark the keywords, then you're going to identify the easy questions, then you're going to scan the passage to find the keywords and the synonyms. Next, you're going to make sure that the answer that you think is the answer is in fact the correct answer. You're going to check in with the connecting words from the question, and you're going to make sure that you have picked the correct answer. And finally, since these questions mostly go in order, and we're going to assume that they go in order, for that reason, we're going to put the question number next to the matching sentence where we have found our answer in the article. Now, here are some examples for you. So let's answer these three questions for our example. So the question is, of course, to complete each sentence, we have to match the question with the correct answer choice. Over here, we have 4 answer choices, so one of them is not going to be used. The first thing you're going to do when you see this question set, when you see a question set like this, is what you always do. You're going to mark the keywords. You're going to mark the keywords not in the answer choices, in the question. So first, you're going to mark the keywords in the question. So here we have keywords like dingle, migratory routes, prepare, Arctic terns, and ability. So those are our main keywords for these questions. You may have noticed that I haven't marked keywords like migratory and migration and migrating. The reason is that the whole article is about migration, so I don't think that these keywords are really going to help us very much. So that's why I haven't marked them. Now, you may be wondering which keywords are easiest to locate: the keywords in the questions or the ones in the answer choices. So we've already talked about this. You always want to look for the keywords from the questions first. And once you have located these keywords in the reading passage, then you can start to look for these keywords from the answer choices around that area. Okay, so these keywords can be helpful, but you don't have to look for these keywords. This is optional. Okay, in some cases, this can help you. This can help you if you have already located the matching sentence. Then it can help you. So the important thing here is to first locate the keywords from the question. So once you have marked these keywords, next you're going to look for the easiest keywords. Which keywords are the easiest? Well, here I have a proper noun, dingle, and here I have Arctic terns. That's also a proper noun, Arctic. So these two are going to be the easiest keywords, and therefore these two are the questions that we're going to answer first. Remember, we have to answer the easy questions first. So I'm going to put a check mark next to number 19 and 21, since those are the easy questions that I'm going to be answering first. Finally, I've already mentioned this, keywords like migrating are repetitive, so they're not going to be very useful. These keywords, these repetitive keywords, can be helpful if you have located the matching sentence. Once you have located the matching sentence using these keywords from the question, then these repetitive keywords can be helpful, okay? And when you have located the matching sentence, then the keywords from the answer choices can also be helpful. So now let's go ahead and start answering these questions. I'm going to start off by answering number 19. So here is our question number 19. Number 19 says, according to Dingle, migratory routes are likely to what? So at this point, we would go to our reading passage and we would start to scan for this keyword Dingle. So right away, I see that here we have our keyword Dingle. I would scan a little bit more. Let's see if we can find anything else. No, I do not see any other mention of Dingle. I also don't see, well, I do see something about migratory routes. Over here, it says prolonged movements that carry animals. Prolonged movements that carry animals. Well, that is synonym language for migratory routes. Synonym language, guys. Very subtle. It's easy to miss synonym language like this, so you have to be careful when you are looking for synonym language. And you have to especially become careful once you have located the keyword. Because once you have located the keyword, there's a high probability that you're going to find synonym language around that area. So we're going to start reading this sentence now. I'm pretty sure that we're going to find our answer somewhere around here. This is going to be our matching sentence. So it says, they are prolonged movements that carry animals outside familiar habitats. They tend to be linear, not zigzaggy. Zigzaggy means to go side to side, left to right. Okay, that's zigzaggy. And then it says they involve special behaviors concerning preparation, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so here I see that it says that these migratory routes or these movements that carry animals, they tend to be linear, not zigzaggy. Well, this over here, my friends, is synonym language. Linear, not zigzaggy, is synonym language for straight. Follow a straight line. That is synonym language. So this right here is our matching sentence. This whole thing actually is our matching sentence, and specifically we have found our answer right here. So the correct answer is going to be B. The migratory routes are likely to follow a straight line. It says that right here. So now that we have answered this question, we're just going to put a number next to it so we know exactly where we found the answer to number 19. Now let's move on to our next question. I'm going to skip number 20 and I'm going to move straight to number 21 because that is the other easy question because we have a proper noun here, Arctic. So I'm going to be looking for these keywords in our reading passage, Arctic terns and ability. Here is our reading passage, and right away I see that here we have the term Arctic tern. And here it says Arctic again. And let's see, it mentions Arctic tern here again. So those are our keywords, Arctic tern and Arctic tern. And here you'll notice that it mentions something about distraction. Over here it mentions distraction. So once you have located this keyword, Arctic tern, at this point you would read this sentence because this is probably going to be your matching sentence. So let's read it. It says that the Arctic tern resists distraction because it is driven at that moment by an instinctive sense of something we humans find admirable, larger purpose. So what is it saying here, folks? It's saying that the Arctic tern resists distraction. It ignores distractions. So this over here is going to be our matching sentence where we have found our answer. And this here is synonym language. Resists is synonym language for ignore. Okay? Ignore distractions is synonym language for resists distractions. So the correct answer is D, and once you have answered it, just put a number next to the spot where you found your answer. So now we know where we found our answer to question number 19 and question number 21. So the answer to question number 20 is going to be sandwiched in between the answers for number 19 and 21. So let's look for this keyword, prepare, specifically prepare for migration. Let's look for this keyword in our reading passage. Okay, so when I'm scanning here, what I see is that it's mentioning something that birds do in advance. See that? Here it says in advance. So this phrase over here, in advance of a long migrational flight, that is synonym language for prepare. So when you prepare for something, you are planning in advance. So that right there is synonym language. This right here, my friends, is going to be our matching sentence since we have found our synonym language here. At this point, since we have found our matching sentence, you can now go ahead and look for these other keywords like migration, difficulties. Straight line is already eliminated because we've already used that answer. And we have also used D. So the answer is going to be A or C. So let's see what it's going to be. It says, birds will fatten themselves with heavy feeding in advance of a long migrational flight. So it says right here, eat more than they need for immediate purposes. That is synonym language for fatten themselves. Fatten themselves with heavy feeding is synonym language for eat more. Eat more than they need. So that is also synonym language right here, and the correct answer is going to be C. So once you've answered this question, you can go ahead and put a number next to it if there are more questions in the question set. If this happens to be the last question, then you don't have to number it. Okay, cool. So we are now done. In the next couple of videos, I want to take you through practice questions so that I can show you in more detail how to answer this question type.